branches of economics. Micro and macro. Microeconomics and macroeconomics. Look, when you see the name itself, micro and macro, micro means small, macro means large, right? So when you say microeconomics, it means it's talking about the small things, and when you say macroeconomics, talking about the large. This seems very easy one, but sometimes it becomes complicated. Even the easiest one, that is even your 12th NCERT is two NCERT. One is microeconomics, and other is macroeconomics. In 12th NCERT, you have two economics, right? So when you call it, it's a Greek word actually, from where the meaning is small and meaning is large. Now the question is, what is small and what is large? What they are talking about? Look, yesterday, while discussing the definition of this economics, we talked about individual. Who is an individual in economics? And at that time, we said that individual can be a particular individual, it can be household, it can be firm, it can be companies also. So everybody can be individual. But if the income of an individual is being considered, right? Individuals' identities are considered, means what is your income, right? And if economy is measuring that, right? Economy is writing what is your income, right? That is the part of microeconomy. As the name is small, micro thing, smaller one. Even that's why when you told you, when you say individual, it means it also talk about the factories. It's also talk about the firms. Suppose when you say there is a, what is the income of Reliance, they are talking about the microeconomy, because they are talking about one of the industry itself, right? One of the company itself. But when they talk about the larger extent, that is talking about the macroeconomics. Employment rate, national income, they talk about the macroeconomics. The confusion could be there still. Before I dictate you the differences, so best way, look, there is one book that has given the best example of it. This is easier one, that is very famous example. So before I talk to, let me give you. Suppose, take one example. Suppose that, say it any person, the demand, they are demanding right now, though the mango season is already over, but say take the example of a mango. Suppose there is a producer who produces this mango juice or some selling, there is several businessmen in the country. Mukesh Ambani is a businessman, right? There are several businessmen. Nowadays, Babas are also businessmen. Patanjali is a business. So Ramdev Baba, for example, he's a businessman. Now, suppose if he is selling a product, right? Say it, and he first demand before selling it. Suppose if he has to make the mango juice, or if he is making something, like the noodles. So before that, he has to have some demand. Pehle to mango laega, after that they will produce mango juice. So suppose that when you call it the demand of mango, right, by Baba Ramdev, that is his name though. Suppose that if this is the demand, what will you call? This is the macroeconomics, macro or micro. If the demand of mango, entire mango, is by one individual Baba Ramdev, it is the demand of whom? It will be considered under microeconomics or macroeconomics. It will be considered under microeconomics because it's talking about one person. Now, suppose if I say, look, a state itself, the online student can also answer these questions. Suppose when you say that, okay, demand, the same thing, demand of mango itself by Delhi state, right? Pura Delhi state ko lekar ke chale agar, suppose entire Delhi state. This is the example of what? Micro or macro? Micro itself. Why? Macro. It will be macro because this is Delhi state right now. Okay. Look, it will still be the example of micro only, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll come to that why it is so, because look here, there are one thing. Before I answer it, it is why micro, but I'll tell you right now, it is micro only. Let me give you two more examples before I come to why it is micro. Now, suppose that if I say demand of mango, right, by India, entire country itself. This is the example of which one? It is still the example. Okay, it is still the example of micro only. You know why? Why? Because they are talking about one particular commodity, that is mango. Mango is just a one individual product, right? So even the whole nation demand of India, India is demanding oil, petrol is coming from other country. You are taking from Russia, UAE, you are taking Iran, you are importing it. So that is the demand of a country. So even the demand of one commodity by India itself, entire nation, still it will be micro. Why? Because you are talking about one particular commodity, only man. So what will be the macro then? Macro will be demand of, right? Demand of all goods and services. All goods and services by India. You get it? When entire goods, means not only mango, it is the potato, it is the onion, it is tomato, everything. When that is the demand, when you talk about the national demand, when you talk about nation demand of all goods and services, that is the part of macro. Did you get it? So one individual thing you will not consider. Now the same thing, if you put other context as well. Suppose when you talk about unemployment, right? So there are different industries in the economy. There is IT industry. There are some people are in the manufacturing things. Some people are in the agriculture. So suppose that if someone say that entire IT industry, we talk about entire IT industry of a country, right? Suppose that if we say that, okay, unemployment in entire IT industry in the economy, that is the example of micro or macro. It is still the example of micro. Why? Because we are talking about only IT industry. So when we call it that there is a unemployment in the country, entire unemployment, irrespective of one particular industry, that is the part of macro. Did you get it? It means when you are talking about even any particular thing, one individual thing, that is the part of micro. But when you talk about entire things of it, that is the part of macro. Is it clear? Entire unemployment in the country, that is the part of macro, but employment or unemployment in one particular sector is the part of micro. This is the traditional definitions of it, right? And this is how they have defined. Present economists nowadays, they say that there is very less differences between micro and macro. And almost it is very, very low. There is no reason why they are saying that, okay, the micro is not actually micro and macro is not actually macro. Suppose that I have given you example of, suppose there is an income of Reliance, right? This is the example of which one? Income of Reliance. It is the example of micro because one company we are talking about. Suppose similarly, if you say that the income of Apple, right, income of Google is the example of micro only, right? But the Apple income of a company Apple is more than the income of several countries together, isn't it? One company's total income, total net worth is more than a country like Bhutan or some South African countries, right? The sub-Saharan African countries. They are so poor. So if you see that the country's extent, it is so large that you cannot say it is micro, right? Because their income is so high and their employment is, or their impact is so high. But still, by going through the definition, that will be the definition, right? So traditionally, this definition is followed. New modern economists, they think that the difference between micro and macro has very, very narrowed and it cannot be justified, right? So you can write down microeconomics. It is the study of individuals, households, and firms' behavior in decision making and allocation of resources. It generally applies to markets of goods and services, and deals with individual and economic issues. Micro term used to indicate something specific area something a specific area rather than general. Something a specific area rather than general. Okay, as you can see, in a specific area, mango, unemployment, that is a specific area. Next is macroeconomics. Macroeconomics. It is concerned with aggregate. It is concerned with aggregates and averages. Aggregates and averages of the entire economy. Aggregates and averages of the entire economy. For example, national income, aggregate output, total employment, total consumption, saving and investment, aggregate demand and supply, general level of price, etc. General level of price, etc. The term macro used to indicate something related to general area, something related to general area rather than a specific one. Okay. Now, the next thing we have the basic microeconomic concept. We'll see one by one. Demand, then supply, and market equilibrium. Okay. So look, what is demand? तुम इकोनॉमी में डिमांड किसको बोलते हैं? What is considered as demand in the economy? Right, what is demand in the economy? Suppose that you want to buy something, generally it is considered as a demand, isn't it? Right, whenever you want to buy any product, that is considered as a demand. But is it demand or not? Suppose if I am a manufacturer of you can say that I produces aeroplanes, for example, or some private jets I make, right? That I am a producer of that, right? I make helicopters. And suppose if I come here to do a survey, and in the classroom I ask everyone, okay, how many of you wants to have it, to have a personal private jet, suppose, right? So most of you say yes, I want to have it, right? Okay, I want to have, I dream to have my personal aeroplane at my house, etc. That can be said, right? Now, because I am a manufacturer, I note down this, that, okay, fine, that 20% said that I need to have my personal private jet. So it means there is a demand in the Karol Bagh area of this, what is called personal helicopters. Now I'll go and I start manufacturing it, because when I get to know that people is demanding, then only I'll make the product, otherwise I'll make it, right? So I'll go and make the 20 aeroplanes or 20 helicopters. Do you think that I'll be in the profit? No, it will be loss. Why? Because you will not be able to buy it. So when I did the survey that you want it or not, you said, yes, I want it. But that was your lame desire. That was not the demand. Why? Why it was not the demand then? Why it was just a plain desire, or it was only your wants? It was not the demand. I'll not call it demand. Economist does not call it demand. Why? Because you do not have ability to pay, right? So, to have it, because until unless you don't have the ability to pay that, it will not become a demand. So your wants or desire, when it is backed by the ability to pay, then it becomes demand. That's the one thing in the mind. Means without ability to pay, you cannot have it. Second thing is the desire also, the choices. Because suppose, now take the another example, suppose you are going to the market, or you are going after this class, and you are about to visit your house, and you have suppose 500 rupees in your pocket, right? And before going to your house, obviously it is also in your mind that I need to buy some vegetable also for the meal of night. In night I need to prepare the meal. So for that I need to buy some vegetables also. It is also in your mind that for tomorrow morning I need to have some breakfast. For that I also need to buy some fruits or some milk. That is in your mind. So before going to the market, it is already in your mind that what you are supposed to buy, isn't it? And it is in your mind also that how much money you are going to spend on that. Suppose you have 500 rupees in the pocket, you are not planning to expend entire 500 rupees, right? Isn't it? You cannot expend entirely. You can do that, but it is in your mind that how much money you will be expending on buying vegetable, how much money you will be expending on buying fruits, how much money you will be expending on buying the milks and the or whatever else, right? That is in your mind. So when you are going, it means that it is your willingness to buy. Now suppose you are in the market and you say, okay, give me 1 kg of apple, to 1 kg potato, 1 kg onion, etc. that you did. And the shopkeeper will tell you that, okay, no, sir, buy this 5 kg of apple. This is the finest apple Delhi has ever got, etc. Right? But you say, no, I have only 500 rupees, right? No, even I have more rupee, I am not willing to buy. I only buy 1 kg, right? At max 1.5 kg, because that you have already decided to buy, right? So what is the second thing in this case? That even you have money, suppose that, no, I'll give both example together now, this helicopter thing and then the vegetable thing. Now, even you have the crores of rupees, not necessarily you will be willing to buy everything that is in the market. You may not be willing it, right? There are things in the market that you are not willing to buy, right? You are not willing to buy 5 kg of apple. You are only willing to buy 1 kg of apple. So what is the two thing that must be there? Obviously, your ability to pay, and your ability must be there, because if you do not have ability, it will not become demand. And willingness also should be there. That are you willing to buy or not? Tumhara man hai ki nahi? Do you want it or not? And when both matches, then it becomes demand in the economy. Right? So how you define demand then, right? So you can write the one line about the demand. The quantity of goods and services, that the buyers are willing and able to purchase. The buyer are willing and able to purchase at different prices. Right? At different prices. Okay. Another term in this, that is budget set. Right? What is this budget set? Though I have already given you the example, that is the same thing. But suppose if your income is 10,000 rupees, right? This is your income, 10,000 rupees is your income. Now in this 10,000 rupees, even if you are willing to spend entire 10,000 rupees, right? So first, what is your ability to spend? 10,000 only. That is the budget. No, generally what happens, suppose that when you visit any shop and you want to buy anything, suppose you want to buy a cloth, you want to buy a pant, shirt or shoes. Generally, it happens that most of the time the shopkeeper asks you, what is your budget? They ask you, na, what is your budget? So by asking this, he actually wants to understand that how much money you are supposed to expend, right? They want to see that in your mind, that how much he is willing to spend. That's why they're asking you, what is your budget? So budget in the sense that if your 10,000 rupees is your income, right? Suppose it's 10,000 rupees is your income, that is the maximum budget you can have, because you cannot have more than that. How can you have more than that if your income itself is not there? So that the maximum budget is there. And after this, it's also not necessary that you will spend entire 10,000 rupees. You will spend little less or little more, whatever. And you will also not buying only one set of goods. That's why the word set, because you require different set of goods or services. Right now in the classroom, you are getting a service, right? So you require this service. You are wearing a cloth, so you require some goods. It means different set of goods and services. What is the budget set? Combinedly means that any consumer, right, who by putting all the income, he is able to buy whatever goods and services, all set of goods and services, that is called budget set. Did you get it? So what is the meaning of the term means that? So write down what is budget set. It is the collection of all goods and services. It is the collection. Yeah, I'm giving you the definition of budget set. It is the collection of all goods and services that the consumer can buy, with their income, at prevailing market price. At prevailing market price.